Well, to start off, just before about 2 months before I joined Refactor, I actually had another training camp. And there I was taught Java full stack. So, uh, but one thing I will say that it's not as professional as Refactor has been. For one, the classes were way too long. Morning like 9 to evening 6 p.m. and they tried to teach all of Java in 5 days, entirety of Java in 5 days, and then expected us to do a project on topics they didn't even cover. And and JavaScript, they actually taught like very bare bone basics of JavaScript, but then expected us to do a big project on it. So again, everything I learned there also hasn't been very helpful. It's like everything again I had to learn from online. But in Refactor, the projects that we had been given, the assignments that we had been given, like on day-to-day basis, what they had taught, that was the assignment, and what the projects were given had already been taught in Refactor already. So I didn't have to look up anything. I just had to look back at the classes in case I forgot anything. So that is like one main improvement I can say from other experiences in training camps. And again, the teaching quality has been very good.
So let's talk a little bit about the projects that you did.
Like I said, React.js, the projects that I had done in React.js were mostly, the most important projects were about 4 of them. 5 of them. 3 of them have been WhatsApp. I created a WhatsApp clone, a TikTok clone, and a Tinder clone. And then I made a chat app, my own chat app through my own design. And finally, I made a weather app. That was part of the project that I had been given for the cognitive clouds. So all 3 of the projects have always been easier because I could just look back at the classes what I had missed. But later on, as I did the projects, obviously I could learn what was wrong, what I was doing wrong, why I'm not understanding. The projects are good, man. I think the project choosing is good, man, because the projects that I had done in React, those 3 projects are very important according to one front-end developer that I know. I think the project choosing is very good, man. The ones that we chose to do, ones that we had been asked to do, that's a very good.
Now, once you finished your training, you went through a couple of mock interviews before you got into the placement pool, right? Can you talk a little bit about that experience as well?
Yes, ma'am. Again, the mock interviews are like a bit more in depth than bit less in depth than what the actual interviews have been. I think they covered the concepts perfectly, like what we had been taught that has been asked. And the mock HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all the mock interviews were very good. And in React also, like as I said, the concepts that were taught, only those were asked. But again, obviously in professional interviews, they ask a bit more in depth than mock interviews can cover because they cannot anticipate the questions properly. So that's all I can say. I think the mock interviews experience has been good, and the questions that have been asked have already been asked for me in the professional interviews. If I hadn't been able to answer, that's probably my fault.
Cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how many companies did you give interviews for?
2 thus far. 2 companies so far.
Okay.
And one company, the company that I'm awaiting offer letter for, and another company that I failed at the first technical round. I don't know why I failed technical round. I think I had answered everything correctly, but I guess that's not what he was looking for. He was looking for something else. So, and I'm actually awaiting another interview for another company. I just finished their project yesterday, their assignment yesterday, and the final interview should be day after tomorrow. Not day after tomorrow. I think it should be on Monday, probably.
Anything else that you want to share, which sort of stands out in your 3 months with us? Any point that
stand out? I think like I mentioned it in my first, I had already been in a training camp. That training was also a training and placement thing, Java full stack. But what they had done is at the end, they had promised an interview, just one and done interview with the company that I had done the training for. But they never called back. So all that training has been a complete waste. No, not complete waste. I do have the knowledge so that I can apply in the future, but it still feels like a waste because I wasn't able to apply where I wanted it to. So that's the main difference. I think it's a very genuine. Refactor is a very genuine company because they actually promised something and actually delivered upon it. And also they had given multiple options, whereas my previous previous one didn't give any choice. They're one and done company with a very low salary, and that too they bunked on it.
One last question. Let's say that there are students, there are future students that sort of come to you or are watching the channel. Is there anything that you want to say to them in terms of being I don't know, a mental kind of preparation before they get into the training, or what to expect when they choose Refactor Academy?
I will 100% say that there should be a lot of practice involved. I will 100% say that. Everything that they had been taught, that they will give assignments that will test the knowledge that you have been that you had learned in their classes, but 100% you will need more practice, and then you need to be 100% prepared. You cannot just expect like what the questions they had asked in mock interview, the same questions they will be asked. Yes, similar questions will be asked. Obviously, similar questions will be asked. The topic-based questions will be asked, but you also 100% need to know like what you had done, the project you had done. You need to know every single line of code in it. You'll be expected to explain sometimes. And 100% there's no need to doubt Refactor Academy whatsoever, because like everything they had promised will be delivered. There's no question about it. My parents were very skeptical at first because, again, I had said previous training camp they bungled upon what they said, but the Refactor Academy delivered exactly what they had promised. So that's one thing. That's the most important thing. I think they keep their promises, which I think is the most important thing.
Tell me a little bit about your educational background, and which college did you pursue your graduation degree from?
Every single aspect of my education has been in Hyderabad. So my graduation was in BTech. I finished it in Keshav Memorial Institute of Technology, and in Electronics and Communications stream. Previously, I did my intermediate in Narayana Junior College, and before that, my high schooling was in St. Joseph High School.
How do you make the shift from electronics to computers? Is something that you do during college years, or do you do afterwards?
Within the college years only, ma'am. Originally, like after first year, they asked me to move to CSE, but I didn't want to move because all of my friends were there. I hadn't actually realized that all of the job opportunities were in software. But I had always wanted to go to software, but because of some financial reasons, we were unable to do that. But eventually, it's in first year itself, they actually gave us a free course, ma'am, in Python. And then starting from third year onwards, like about half of our subjects have been in software itself, not barely in electronics at all. And then in fourth year, almost every subject was software itself. So like the interest has always been there, and like the work has always been put in there, and front end has always attracted me more than almost every other field. So that's how I did my shift. Everything about front end I had learned by myself. That